Ramaswamy then criticized rival Nikki Haley's daughter for having a TikTok account. He also stressed that it's not important how he knows her daughter has a TikTok account. Then Nikki Haley responded to the attack by saying, "Leave my daughter out of your voice," which was pulled directly from the Japanese subtitles of the Will Smith slap. Health officials say that the annual Gridiron Club dinner in Washington, D.C. became a COVID super spreader event with more than 50 high-ranking officials getting infected. The problem was a lot of people took off their masks during the post.
In a new documentary, an ex-girlfriend of Prince Andrew describes Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell as Batman and Robin. Come on, what does Batman and Robin have in common with a billionaire that grooms teenagers?
This week marks the 50th anniversary of the classic Walt Disney World ride, It's a Small World. The ride features over 300 animatronic children united in the shared goal of perpetuating stereotypes.
A woman revealed that she accidentally ordered a cocktail that cost $2,000. Ingredients of the $2,000 drink included gin, vermouth, and a MacBook Pro. LA Dodgers star Shohei Ohtani was forced to fire his interpreter over gambling and theft allegations. Reached for comment. Ohtani said something in Japanese. Yesterday, the devil went down to Georgia. No, I'm kidding. Donald Trump traveled to Georgia to survey the damage from Hurricane Helene, which is bold because nothing scares Trump more than high winds.
Well, guys, it's 2024, but
President Biden gave a speech in Atlanta where he called on the Senate to pass 2 voting rights bills, saying, "I am tired of being quiet." And to prove it, he took a 20-minute standing nap. Or should I say littlest? Oh, your war with Drake may be over, but your war with Michael Che is just beginning. So to quote Hamilton, shoot your shot, player.
I just don't think that the average American is scared that they're going to lose their job for withholding military aid for Ukraine. This protest was so lame that halfway through the Republicans ordered a pizza. And a reporter took this photo, and my favorite part is this staff member's reaction when she saw the pizzas. It's the kind of expression that says, ooh, something very big has just happened.
Protesters continue to gather at Standing Rock Indian Reservation to stop the construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline. The natives believe that the oil pipeline could contaminate their water supply, but the oil company believes, nah. The Sheriff's Department began using rubber bullets and water hoses against the protesters last weekend. And I know that law enforcement is a very, very tough job. But at some point, when you're out there in 23-degree weather, spraying some native family with a fire hose on Thanksgiving, you gotta stop and wonder, are we the bad guys?
It was International Fraud Awareness Week, but I'm aware of a fraud every day when I look in the mirror. A new study is being conducted to explain why redheads seem to experience pain differently. Because they're all witches? The new HBO show Gilded Age is being praised for highlighting wealthy black families that lived in New York in the late 1800s until they were driven out by wealthy industrialist Colin Jost I. Tuesday night marked the first night of Hanukkah, the Jewish celebration of how one word miraculously stretched into 8. There are also unconfirmed reports that Vladimir Putin will undergo cancer surgery. Wow, I never thought I'd say this, but hey, good luck, cancer. According to a new report, scientists now believe they have pinpointed where the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs came from. Space. I thought you guys would be more, whatever. A new Netflix show about convicted murderers Eric and Lau Menendez is being criticized for implying the brothers had an incestuous relationship. Said the brothers, "We're just glad our parents aren't around to see this."
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame announced that Dolly Parton would be inducted this year, along with Eminem, Lionel Richie, and Carly Simon, which begs the question, what is rock and roll? This week, the WNBA Finals were won by the New York Liberty. I'm kidding. Vegas beat them in 4, you phonies. You didn't see that game. A new report claims that recent stories on the Sports Illustrated website were actually generated by AI, and it's already making glaring mistakes. For instance, it made up something called the WNBA. The dating app Bumble says that next year they expect to see a surge in relationships where one person dates someone considerably older because those student loans ain't gonna pay for themselves. President Trump's tax documents also show that his airline, which I didn't know anything about, launched in 1989 and lost $7 million a month until it shut down in 1992. And just to give you an idea of how bad his airline was, it lasted 33 years less than Spirit. Cheryl Peepaw.
Guys. It was reported that Queen Elizabeth II has permanently moved out of Buckingham Palace, and this is weird, in with John Mayer. A thief and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis seen here waving COVID into the club. He attacked Disney for opposing the state's Don't Say Gay bill, calling the company a woke corporation. Disney denied the claims of wokeness with roughly 90 years of cartoons. Well, that's it.
Press Secretary Jen Psaki is reportedly leaving the White House this spring to join MSNBC. Damn, she's still at work and already has her next job lined up. That's as crazy as some of the sketches on season 2 of That Damn Michael Che this summer on HBO Max.
A museum in France is using an AI-generated version of Vincent van Gogh to answer visitors' questions about his paintings. Unfortunately, the AI keeps responding to questions with, "What?"
Iowa's Final Four game against UConn was the most watched women's college basketball game ever, with 14.2 million viewers, beating the previous record by 14.2 million viewers.
The Adult Survivors Act, which allowed sex abuse victims to file lawsuits even after the statute of limitations expired, has resulted in several new suits. Figures, because bitches love bringing up old stuff.
Don't fall for me, don't put your trust in me, don't even lie for me. I want you, honey, I don't get you.
A new study finds that frogs in the rainforest have a higher pitch call than urban frogs. The study also finds that female frogs be shopping. I stand by that joke. The San Francisco panel studying reparations is proposing giving every black resident a one-time payment of $5 million. Well, that's a fantastic idea, said the Gucci store.
The location of Sex Island, which is a 4-day drug-fueled event featuring prostitutes and an exclusive resort, has been revealed to be an island off the coast of Trinidad and Tobago. This, according to the plane ticket I saw in Shay's hand.
See you there. Video was posted of a police officer in San Francisco pulling over a driverless car, then the car driving away after the officer saw no one was behind the wheel. Even more amazing, he still managed to shoot an unarmed black guy. The Senate passed the Respect for Marriage Act, which solidifies federal protections for interracial marriages. Okay, but if I marry a white lady, who's going to protect me from my mother?
Due to a computer error, a school in Massachusetts has been unable to turn off its lights for over a year and a half. The students are doing fine, but the classroom hamster has gone insane.
CDC is warning people to not eat raw cookie dough because it may contain germs that can cause severe diarrhea. But on the bright side, you can eat cookie dough without ever gaining weight. In and out.
It was reported that the Boy Scouts of America are considering filing for bankruptcy in the face of declining membership. Yeah, apparently there's some problem with their business model of hoping parents will pay adult strangers to take their children deep into the woods. It was announced that the Broadway musical Avenue Q about raunchy puppets will close in the spring after 15 years. But if you still want to go see raunchy puppets, just head to Times Square and watch Elmo kicking pigeon.
The inflation rate in the U.S. reached 8.5% in March. To cover the higher prices, millions of families have been forced to take out a second OnlyFans account.
Google Earth has released a new feature that allows people to see a time lapse of how their neighborhood has changed over the last 40 years. Don't remind me, said my grandpa. Firefighters in Texas saved more than 100 snakes, including pythons and boa constrictors, from a burning home. Said the homeowner, "Cool, so where's my wife?" The World Health Organization is changing the name of monkeypox to mpox due to...
announced that its word of the year is gaslighting. Gaslighting, if you don't know, is a word my ex made up to magically win arguments that she was losing. Tensions are on the rise after North Korea launched more than 20 missiles into the ocean, and all because the Little Mermaid is black. It's not real.
Tomorrow is the New York City Marathon, or as Fox News will report it, undocumented Africans run wild in streets of New York. Oh, God. Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari, for the first time, denied months-old rumors that he had died and been replaced by a lookalike from Sudan. See, even Africans can't tell black people apart.
A new study shows that the average American touches their mobile device more than 2,000 times a day. Only 2,000 times, said my penis.
A church in Massachusetts has created a nativity scene that comments on the immigration debate by placing the baby Jesus in a cage, where he belongs.
Whoa. A new report shows that Hurricane Florence was the wettest in history. The previous record for wetness was set on the opening night of Magic Mike.
Kevin Spacey, hold for applause, Kevin Spacey made his first public speaking appearance in 5 years, where he thanked Italy's National Cinema Museum for having the balls to invite him. He also asked, "Could I touch the balls?" I'm kidding. He didn't ask permission.
It was reported that last year the population of China declined by 850,000 people, thanks to an increase in China's leading cause of death, protesting. China plans to reverse the population decline with an emergency import of Nick Cannon.
A substitute teacher in North Carolina has resigned after she reportedly told a class of elementary students that Martin Luther King Jr. killed himself. In her defense, he is the one who decided to keep running his mouth. Why? Tennis star Andy Murray was upset after an umpire at the Australian Open refused to let him take a bathroom break during a 5-set long match. Worse, it was deuce.
A Catholic nun in France who was believed to be the oldest person in the world has died at the age of 118. Her cause of death was listed as answered prayer.
The U.S. Department of the Interior has changed the name of Squaw Valley, California, because it is considered a derogatory term for Native American women. Okay, I don't understand how that name gets changed, and yet no one cares there's an entire town in New York that mocks my people. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Welcome to Weekend Update. I'm Michael Che.
I'm Colin Jost. Six Flags has unveiled plans for a new roller coaster, which will be the world's tallest and fastest, with a 600-foot drop that reaches speeds of 150 miles an hour. The only problem is, if you hit a bug, you die.
A new study finds that the top reason more teenage boys are virgins is that they haven't found the right person yet, which suggests a critical nationwide shortage on skanks.
It was announced that by 2025, New York will install cameras in every subway car. I thought it was illegal to put cameras in bathrooms. First Lady Jill Biden also unveiled a new ice rink near the White House, setting the stage for next week's headline, President Shatters Pelvis on Ice Rink.
A new study finds that despite women making less money than men, more single women in the U.S. own homes than single men, thanks to a phenomenon economists call divorce.
During a White House ceremony, President Biden wished Kamala Harris a happy birthday, then accidentally called her a great president. Even worse, he was talking to a portrait of Michelle Obama.
Probably really dances, too. First Lady Jill Biden said in an interview that she maintains a good balance in the types of advice she offers President Biden. But it's mostly, hold on to the railing.
This week, South Carolina attorney Alex Murdaugh was found guilty of murder and also found guilty of looking like Will Ferrell dressed as Conan O'Brien.
A woman revealed that she accidentally ordered a cocktail that cost $2,000. Ingredients of the $2,000 drink included gin, vermouth, and a MacBook Pro. See, that was a sweet one.
Disneyland has announced that it's permanently closing its attraction Beast's Library and replacing it with, well, this is weird, Gaston's Gay Gym.
A California man has set a new world record by visiting Disneyland for 2,995 consecutive days, but still no sign of his kid. A new study... I tried to plow right through. A new study finds that married men live a longer, healthier life. Yeah, but for what?
Disney World is closing Splash Mountain to turn it into Tiana's Bayou Adventure after complaints that its Song of the South theme was racist. Okay, but where's the outrage about Disney forcing a mentally challenged dwarf to mine blood diamonds? In a new Scooby-Doo Halloween special, the character Velma is openly depicted as a lesbian. Finally. She was openly depicted as a lesbian, which explains why Scooby is now a rescue pit bull.
A doctor from Singapore has gone viral with a video telling people that they can get relief from constipation by sitting on the toilet cross-legged. So that's what they mean when they say crisscross applesauce. I get it now.
Oh, no. KFC has introduced a new item that's a combo of fried chicken and pizza called Chizza, though they warn it could also cause a combo reaction called vomaria.
Hefty has introduced pumpkin spice scented trash bags, and I gotta say, pumpkin spice scented trash bags is probably the best slur for white people I've ever heard.
The White House has introduced a new plan to put nutrition labels on the front instead of the back. So to give you an idea of the overall health of Americans, we're too lazy to do this.
A woman at an art fair in Miami accidentally shattered a Jeff Koons sculpture worth more than $40,000. Well, I guess it's like you always say, Colin, Koons ain't safe in Florida.
You're gonna get me killed. A new trend among parents is to choose baby names that sound cool as TikTok handles. Great news for little baby Trick Shot COVID Hoax. Flacco, the beloved owl that escaped from the Central Park Zoo, died last week after he flew into a building. Flacco will be remembered for his famous last words, "Oh, cool, another owl."
Police in Florida say that multiple shots were fired during a fight outside a Chuck E. Cheese, but there were no victims located. Maybe check the pizza?
Federal officials have charged 2 men for allegedly killing more than 3,000 protected birds, including bald eagles. But on the other hand, best weekend of our lives. Hawaii's Mauna Loa, the world's largest active volcano, began erupting for the first time since 1984. Also erupting for the first time since 1984, your aunt watching Yellowstone.
A new report shows that South Korea now has the world's lowest birth rate, despite the efforts of South Korean entertainer Nick Can-un. Nick Can-un.
Yeah, I know. I heard you. Yeah. Hate it. Well, guys, it's 2024, but is it? I don't know about you, but when I think of the year 2020, I never think we should run that one back. And if you're feeling confused, you're not the only one. At a rally on Thursday, President Biden said he was mixed up when he claimed he had just taken a photo with a woman who wasn't even there.
New Jersey police recaptured an escaped pig named Albert Einstein. They call him Albert Einstein because compared to people in New Jersey, pigs are geniuses. Oh, man.
Wow. Then the next day, Donald Trump repeatedly confused Nikki Haley with Nancy Pelosi. Guys, I don't know if we should do this election. It's honestly starting to feel like elder abuse. I don't even blame them. I blame us for allowing it. It reminds me of those bum fight videos where they made 2 homeless guys fight for money.
Nikki Haley has launched a series of campaign ads targeting both Donald Trump and Joe Biden called Grumpy Old Men. Okay, but at least they're men. Chicago became the largest U.S. city to call for a ceasefire in Gaza. And in return, Gaza called for a ceasefire in Chicago.
And now we look back on it and we're like, how did we as a society let that happen? So I think the best solution is we should just tell Trump and Biden that they both won. And that we're very proud of them. And that they can rest now.
Scientists in New Guinea have rediscovered a long-lost mammal called a monotreme, which has the quills of a hedgehog, the snout of an anteater, the feet of a mole, and the ass of an angel. I'm just reading it, man.
In a new interview, Donald Trump also claimed that President Biden was high on cocaine during the State of the Union, saying he was all jacked up at the beginning. By the end, he was fading fast. It almost sounds like Donald Trump knows exactly what it feels like to be on cocaine.
Those are some rough jokes, Colin. The second largest Hindu temple in the world has opened in New Jersey. Hindu leaders believe the temple ended up in New Jersey because it did something terrible in a former life. A first first-class dining menu from the Titanic is being auctioned off for over $80,000. The menu includes duck in a port wine sauce, spring lamb, and bottomless water. It's the Titanic.
Because the Titanic, right?
Sunk. Donald Trump said that at the debates, he wants both of them to stand instead of sit. So that's the status of our presidency. Standing is a feat of strength. I think we can learn a lot more watching them both try to get out of a beanbag chair. Israeli officials are reportedly furious after the U.S. withheld a shipment of weapons. But yes, sometimes people get angry at their intervention. All right, that was... President Biden on Tuesday issued a call to fight hate against anti-Semitism, saying there's no place for it in America. But on the other hand, Collins Country Club.
Just today, Donald Trump posted on Truth Social that he wasn't scared of going to jail for violating a gag order, saying, "I will gladly become a modern-day Nelson Mandela." Unfortunately for Halloween.
A new poll shows that supporters of President Biden and Donald Trump are sharply divided over where they get their news from. People who support Biden are more likely to get their news from newspapers and mainstream media, while Trump supporters get their news from T-shirts. During a ceremony in Russia, Vladimir Putin was sworn in for his 5th term as president by placing his hand on the Russian Constitution, which is... The CIA is marking its 75th anniversary by launching a podcast. And because it's the CIA, they're launching it directly into an Afghani wedding.
Yeah. A new study finds that during the pandemic, students' math scores dropped by almost 10%. Wow, so more than half.
New York City is now requiring employers to disclose salary ranges in all job listings. Employers must list everything ranging from the top salary all the way down to the female salary.
Some parents in Oregon are having large groups of their children ride their bikes to school at the same time in a formation they're calling a bike bus. And pedophiles are calling a buffet.
Police in Queens were searching for a suspect who hijacked a bus and then immediately crashed it into a utility pole. Okay, so we know it's a woman.
Tomorrow is the New York City Marathon, or as Fox News will report it, undocumented Africans run wild in streets of New York.
China has launched the third and final module for its permanent space station. Now all they have to do is launch some children to assemble it.
In Arizona, a woman was arrested after she allegedly went day drinking while her 5-month-old child was sitting home alone. Like a loser.
Texas police arrested a woman who broke into a man's house, stripped naked, and slept in one of his beds. The man called the police when he realized the woman was not attractive.
Researchers say the number of gray whales off western North America has continued to decline for several years. It's a sad fact that makes me wonder if whale oil is really the best way to give my hair this amazing volume. British officials have unveiled King Charles III's new royal monogram. The C stands for Charles, the R is for Rex, and the 3 is for how many hundreds of yards Prince Andrew has to stay away from schools.
The Postal Service announced a new stamp honoring the late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. There's also a stamp honoring Clarence Thomas that says, "Flip me over and start licking."
A video was posted of a recent Smash Mouth concert in which, a recent Smash Mouth concert in which the lead singer is seen slurring his words, doing a Nazi salute, and threatening to kill an audience member. And it gets worse. He then started singing.
Police in England are now using specially trained dogs to detect semen at crime scenes. This replaces the old method of detecting semen, slipping on it.
Elon Musk took over Twitter. Use of the N-word on the site has reportedly jumped 500%. It's the biggest increase in the use of the N-word since the last time I stubbed my toe.
A woman in Slovakia helped arrest a man robbing a gas station by performing oral sex on him until police arrived. The woman was able to stall him for that long by being terrible at it. Tensions are on the rise after North Korea launched more than 20 missiles into the ocean, and all because the Little Mermaid is black. It's not real.
This week, President Biden pardoned thousands of convicted marijuana users, and it feels like maybe he celebrated with them a little because yesterday, Biden gave a speech at a car factory and opened with this.
Let me start off with two words. Made in America.
A group of researchers are trying to determine why humans have a desire to feed other animals, such as birds and squirrels. But if I had to guess, it's probably because their wife passed away. I don't know why I thought that'd make you laugh.
During a White House ceremony, President Biden wished Kamala Harris a happy birthday, then accidentally called her a great president. Even worse, he was talking to a portrait of Michelle Obama.
After trying for several years, the New York City Commission voted to remove a statue of Thomas Jefferson from City Hall. They were finally able to remove it by telling the statue there was a hot black lady outside.
Well,
Residents in Rome are upset after a wild boar and her 6 piglets were killed on a playground near the Vatican. But it's like they say, nothing good ever happens on a playground near the Vatican. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
This week, there was a full moon known as the Beaver Moon, which can be seen about a month after a waxing moon.
That's a good joke. That's a good. Starbucks has launched a new eco-friendly program called Borrow a Cup, in which customers return their cup after finishing their drink so the store can use it again. And Dunkin' Donuts plans to compete with this promotion by not doing that.
The house where Lizzie Borden murdered her parents has been sold for $2 million and will be turned into a bed and breakfast. Though a bed and breakfast where a murder happened is pretty much just a day's in.
Virginia has become the first state in the South to abolish the death penalty. So if you'll excuse me, I've got some white women to whistle at.
The White House has introduced a new plan to put nutrition labels on the front instead of the back. So to give you an idea of the overall health of Americans, we're too lazy to do this.
Orthodox Jewish leaders in New York City lashed out at a newly imposed coronavirus restriction in their neighborhoods by setting fires and burning masks. And it's a miracle because the masks burned for 8 nights.
Come on, dude.
That's a good one. Come on. Stop it. Stop it.
Firefighters in Florida rescued a horse that fell into a septic tank and was nearly submerged in raw sewage. A horse submerged in raw sewage is also known as an Arby's beef and cheddar.
Arby's, we eat the horse.
In the wake of the R. Kelly verdict, there's a growing movement online to force music streaming services to remove his music. I mean, after all, streaming is basically what got him in trouble in the first place. A statue of George Floyd on display in a New York City park was defaced for the second time. Police are searching for the suspect and are planning to serve him with a job application.
A woman in Taiwan who thought her boyfriend was cheating cut off his penis and flushed it down the toilet. I'm sorry, thought he was cheating?
South Carolina lawmakers voted to add firing squad to its execution methods. And I think it's nice that people will finally get the chance to be shot after they're found guilty. A woman in Arizona gave birth to a 14-pound baby boy. So now Arizona has 2 Grand Canyons. It's a math joke. I'm surprised you guys would get it.
Oh, my God.
A new study shows that the COVID vaccine does not cause infertility in men or women. Damn it, why did I get this?
A professional golfer in Florida was arrested after he tried to meet a 15-year-old girl he met online who turned out to be a detective. Said the golfer, Mulligan?
Come on, man.
Sadly, there's more. For those of you wondering, in golf terms, a 15-year-old is 3 under par.
It was reported that adult model Belle Delphine is making over $1 million a month by selling her used bathwater, which is crazy because it doesn't taste that good.
A new study says that the combined mass of every ant on Earth is greater than the mass of every mammal and bird combined, thanks mostly to this juicy bitch.
Walmart announced that members of its Walmart Plus subscription service will be able to take advantage of Black Friday sales 4 hours early. Experts believe it could be the most violent gathering of Walmart shoppers since January 6th.
Border officials have discovered $400,000 worth of meth hidden inside pumpkins. They could tell the pumpkins were full of meth because they only had like 3 teeth left.
New York City Steakhouse Peter Luger has partnered with Madame Tussauds to filling its dining room with wax figures of celebrities during the pandemic. So now you can enjoy a steak with Jimmy Fallon, or have a dessert with Audrey Hepburn, or have a drink with, oh no, Bill Cosby. In the wake of the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas, insiders praised President Biden's light touch when dealing with Benjamin Netanyahu. But in fairness, everything Biden does involves some kind of touch.
Pfizer also said that its COVID vaccine is safe and effective for teens aged 12 to 15. Well, that's a relief, said Matt Gaetz.
In a new documentary, an ex-girlfriend of Prince Andrew describes Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell as Batman and Robin. Come on, what does Batman and Robin have in common with a billionaire that grooms teenagers?
Disneyland's Snow White ride is being criticized because Prince Charming kisses Snow White without her consent while she's asleep, which still isn't as bad as Universal Studios' new Cosby the Ride.
A growing number of NFL players are filling up their off time by playing chess with each other. And also, let's see here, domestic violence. That's how they're spending their time, Colin.
Researchers have discovered a piece of 20-million-year-old petrified wood on the Greek island of Lesbos. They knew it was from Lesbos because it's double-ended.
Oh, man. Almost 100 art industry figures have criticized 4 different museum plans to postpone exhibits featuring an artist's paintings of the KKK. But if you want to see portraits of Klansmen, you can always search Jost on Ancestry.com. Okay, well, whatever. Yankees legend Whitey Ford died this week at the age of 91. Ford reminds us of a simpler time when you could just name your kid Whitey.
It is dark. A woman, oh, it's getting worse. A woman flying to Detroit said she woke up to a pastor urinating on her, which explains why her dream was about her being baptized. A new law has been passed in California requiring companies to have more diversity in their board of directors, which is how I forced my way onto the board of BET. BET, there's going to be some changes around here.
Senator Bernie Sanders suggested that he supports replacing fellow Democrats Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. Damn, Bernie, stabbing your own co-workers in the back? That's unforgivable. I would never suggest Collins should be fired, no matter how much better I think Bowen would be.
Hefner's former girlfriends revealed that the Playboy Mansion is haunted. She knew it was haunted because if you turn on a black light, you see ectoplasm everywhere. Gen Z icon Kyle Rittenhouse is petitioning the court for the return of his rifle so he can destroy it. I don't know, careful, Kyle. Trying to get your memorabilia back is how they finally got OJ.
The head of Chicago's police union is urging officers to defy the city's vaccine mandate, which is weird because usually Chicago police can't wait to take the shot. Walmart. Police in Ohio say that a report of a homeless man sleeping on a bench turned out to be a statue, which was a huge relief because they shot it 15 times. Pebbles, who was the world's oldest living dog, has died at the age of 22. But it's okay. His owners knew this was coming if they didn't keep him off my yard.
A new poll shows that 75% of LGBTQ voters support Joe Biden, but 0% of them support Joe Biden guessing what the B, T, and Q stand for.
The Kremlin celebrated the illegal annexation of Ukraine with a night of entertainment in Red Square. Say what you will, but a gig's a gig.
Startup airline Boom Supersonic is hoping to eventually fly passengers anywhere in the world in 4 hours or less for just $100. So get ready to fly fast and cheap on the only airline named after the sound of an explosion. This is fun. A Canadian woman was fined more than $25,000 for illegally importing bull semen. Meanwhile, in the U.S., bull semen is sold legally under the name White Claw.
Doctors in China removed more than 120 magnetic beads swallowed by a 5-year-old boy. Wow. Wait till his boss at the factory hears about this.
The CDC is warning about a salmonella outbreak that's linked to bird feeders. Yet another piece of bad news for people who eat out of bird feeders.
A conductor of a bullet train is facing disciplinary action after he left the controls to use the bathroom while the train was traveling at nearly 100 miles an hour. But brother, that chili was traveling at that same speed.
New Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has been accused of spreading white supremacist ideas, which is crazy. We're now counting Italians as white? Sizzler restaurants have announced that as a result of the impact from COVID, they are filing for bankruptcy, which is probably a good idea since the Sizzler buffet is the closest thing America has to a Wuhan wet market.
The population of Los Angeles has fallen for the 3rd straight year. Well, it's like Colin always says, LA is just not the same without Harvey. You always say it, man.
Cool. Thanks, man. That's cool. Researchers say that a system on the International Space Station that turns astronaut urine into drinking water could be used to provide clean water on Earth, which is the kind of amazing innovation that makes me think, wait, then what are astronaut brownies made of? The chief, well, you're not going to like this. The chief of the Cherokee Nation is calling on car maker Jeep to stop using the tribe's name on its vehicles. So Jeep has agreed to change the name to, wow, the Aunt Jemima Mobile.
Singer R. Kelly was found guilty of racketeering and sex trafficking this week, but won't be sentenced until next May, after R. Kelly's lawyers successfully negotiated one more school year.
It was reported that federal authorities investigating the sex trafficking accusations against Matt Gaetz have secured the cooperation of his ex-girlfriend, but not until after her prom.
Doctors say that a man who came into an emergency room complaining about chest pains had a 10-centimeter chunk of cement lodged in his heart. Wow. Anyways, he's dead.
Mattel is releasing a Helen Keller Barbie doll. Just remember not to let her drive the Barbie Corvette.
A British woman was shocked when she discovered a 4-foot-long python in her toilet. But hey, that's Indian food for you.
You wish you could go back to the Grand Canyon joke, yeah. Officials in Georgia say that more than 50 children may have been exposed to coronavirus by a mall Santa, which is the second worst thing a mall Santa can expose children to.
The U.S. men's soccer team failed to qualify for the Olympics for the third time in a row. But fellas, keep your heads up and remember that win or lose, you will always get paid more than the women's team. It's true.
Sesame Street has introduced 2 new black Muppets to help explain racial difference to children, which begs the question, are these Muppets white?
Thursday was National No Bra Day, which I celebrated by not supporting women. It's a bra joke.
Tuesday was National Puppy Day, unfortunately at Subway.
It was revealed that Freddie, the world's tallest dog, has died. The cause of death has been listed as ceiling fan.
This week, Britain's most eligible bachelor, Prince Andrew, officially deleted his Twitter account after he realized that's not the app with all the dancing teenagers. Catholic leaders issued new pandemic guidelines for Ash Wednesday, discouraging priests from wiping ashes directly off people's foreheads. And I think no touching could just be a great new rule in general.
Fisher-Price has launched an online museum showcasing its toys over the past 90 years. Or you can see them in person at America's most famous toy museum, the Neverland Ranch.
Southwest Airlines has changed their policy for emotional support animals and will now only allow cats and dogs on board, while over at Spirit, everyone's given a snake. M&M's announced that they've redesigned their iconic M&M characters after people requested that the brown M&M not look like a teacher who has sex with her students. Insiders are also saying that during meetings, President Biden repeatedly uses the F word in conversations. More concerning, the F word he keeps using is forget.
Police in Florida say that multiple shots were fired during a fight outside a Chuck E. Cheese, but there were no victims located. Maybe check the pizza? A new study by astronomers finds that the galaxy is not as black as previously thought after it was seen dating a white lady.
Welcome to Practical Comedy. For this episode, we will bring you lots of interesting jokes. Vaccine that makes you immune on child support. And Michael will be wearing protection. Colin will give an update on obese monkey. And many more starting now.
We're making each other read jokes live on air that the other person has never seen before.
And the idea is to keep it fun, light. No one's going to get canceled. No one's families are going to get threatened. You know, have fun.
Sure, we'll see. Well, why don't you go first?
Many doctors are saying that they have a hard time convincing their black patients to agree to take the COVID vaccine. Well, maybe they should try telling them it makes you immune from paying child support.
Whoa!
Yay or nay?
It's Weekend Update. Michael Che.
Now Michael Che's turn.
A new interview with England's Prince Andrew is being called a total disaster after he said his friend Jeffrey Epstein conducted himself in a manner unbecoming. I don't know, from what I've read, it sounded like he becoming all the time.
Yay or
A
nay?
church in Massachusetts has created
Now
a
it's
nativity
Colin
scene
Jost's
that
turn.
comments on the immigration debate by placing the baby Jesus in a cage, where he belongs.
Doctors in Iowa have confirmed a dog disease that can be passed on to humans. Fine, I'll wear a condom. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yay or nay?
It's Weekend Update with Colin Jost.
An obese monkey in Thailand named Godzilla has been sent to a special facility to lose weight. Officials realized the monkey was overweight when a bunch of black guys kept hitting on it.
That's pretty racist, Colin.
Yay or nay?
It's Weekend Update. Michael
Let's
Che.
hear from Michael Che.
It was revealed that the sequel to the movie Hocus Pocus is in the works for Disney Plus, which judging by this picture is a movie about every white woman I've ever slept with. Cool.
Recent polls show that Pete Buttigieg has only 4% support among African Americans. But that'll change once Pete announces his running mate, the Popeyes chicken sandwich.
A new study shows that the average American touches their mobile device more than 2,000 times a day. Only 2,000 times, said my penis.
Yay or nay? Now let's hear from Colin.
A student in Texas, who is nicknamed White Lightning, set a high school record by running the 100-meter dash in 9.98 seconds. Coincidentally, people call me White Lightning because I also finish in under 10 seconds.
Las Vegas is opening a pop-up vaccine site in a strip club. And don't worry, the strippers say the vaccine is a lot like Michael Che. Very quick, and you can barely feel it go in.
This week marks the 65th anniversary of Rosa Parks refusing to give up her seat on an Alabama bus. And I just wish that all black people could follow her example of sitting down and shutting up.
Yay or nay?
It's Weekend Update.
Here's more from Colin Jost.
Warner Brothers is producing a new movie in which Superman is black. And a black Superman actually makes a lot of sense when you remember that Superman was abandoned by his parents as a baby.
Researchers are testing a new method to treat cancer by injecting the cells with the herpes virus. So good news, if you've ever had sex with me, you might have the cure for cancer. Oh, man.
Yay or nay? Here's more from Colin Jost.
Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari, for the first time, denied months-old rumors that he had died and been replaced by a look-alike from Sudan. See, even Africans can't tell black people apart.
Pope Francis ended a Vatican summit by promising the Catholic Church would confront the clergy sex abuse head on instead of their usual way, face down, ass up.
Well, I knew you'd like that one, so here's another one. Warner Brothers is producing a new movie in which Superman is black. In this version, black Superman's kryptonite is an honest day's work. Whoa!
The Palm Beach mansion, once owned by Jeffrey Epstein, will soon be demolished. And I'm honestly shocked that they would demolish a place where I have so many fond memories. Rest in power, King.
Yay or nay?
It's Weekend
Here's more
Update
from Colin
with
Joss.
Joe.
Go. I just thought of another punchline for that black Superman story. Black Superman will be referred to as the Man of Steel, spelled S-T-E-A-L.
Police are being investigated after video surfaced of them using excessive force on a homeless black man accused of urinating in public. But I say great work keeping our streets clean, boys. Yes, sir. Anything the police do is all right with old Mikey Che.
The bat used by Babe Ruth to hit his 500th home run was auctioned off this week. Also, I'll be auctioning off the bat I used to keep my neighborhood white.
Up to now, no one has been canceled yet.
It's Weekend Update.
Let's
Michael
hear
Che.
from Michael Che.
A new report shows that Hurricane Florence was the wettest in history. The previous record for wetness was set on the opening night of Magic Mike.
A new report finds that as people move into formerly wild areas of Africa, human activity is disrupting chimpanzee culture. Incidentally, chimpanzee culture is also what my grandpa calls hip-hop. Why? This week, construction began on a new hip-hop museum in the Bronx. And I know that we've had a lot of fun with me reading racist jokes that Michael writes for me. But because our country is already divided enough, I'd like to use my platform to say something that everyone of all races can agree on. Woody Allen is innocent. Okay, it says, okay, time out. I refuse to read this last joke, not because it's racist, but because there's a black man holding my cue card. It says I can't work like this, so Merry Christmas, homeboy, you're fired.
Oh my. Here's more.
Last week was National Rosa Parks Day, or as we call it in my house, Uppity Bus Passenger Day. A substitute teacher in North Carolina has resigned after she reportedly told a class of elementary students that Martin Luther King Jr. killed himself. In her defense, he is the one who decided to keep running his mouth. Why? You're going to get me murdered. It was announced that Creed singer Scott Stapp will play Frank Sinatra in an upcoming movie. But the good news is Sammy Davis Jr. will be played by Scarlett Johansson.